Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Inspired Action Life podcast. I'm your host, Karen Baldridge, and today we are doing an episode in the series of Success Leaves Clues that I have been working on for the last few weeks, where I'm interviewing people who have made major changes in their life and have really just kind of jumped over the cliff and decided to do something big that maybe makes sense to them, but doesn't make sense to everybody else. They always have to answer questions, undergo scrutiny, judgment from other people, but they're doing it anyway, whether it's in their personal life or whether it's a career change or a brand new business. And I really find those stories exciting and inspiring. So I thought I would bring on a few people that have inspired me and let them tell you their story. So today I have a friend, a former colleague, and a current collaborator, Jamie Van Horn. Well, Jamie Coburn Van Horn. When I met her, she was Jamie Coburn, but now she's Jamie Coburn Van Horn. And Jamie has a super interesting story, lots of twists and turns with how she got to where she is today, and the reason I'm going to interview her today. Jamie has just started a brand new company and in our area, but hopefully coming to a place near you very soon. It's an integrated mind-body wellness center called Align Health. And I can't wait for you to hear this concept. It's like nothing you've probably ever heard. It was definitely nothing I've ever heard. I'm excited to be part of it. So I'm going to let the story unfold naturally, and let's just hear from Jamie as to how she arrived at doing this, just going for it. So without further ado, hello, Jamie.
Hello, Karen.
How are you today? Good day?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. I'm so stoked to be here chatting with you. Kind of actually what I say, put a face to a name to this conversation that we've been having for, really months now, obviously. And I think, as I kind of replay our conversations in the past, as me being so blessed to be able to be a colleague of yours. I mean, I can remember us talking about dreams then, and fast forward, what, for God's sakes, 10 years. I mean, it seems crazy, but it just is now like, we're here, sis, and we're making this work. So excited to be chatting with you.
Well, just because, when I'm talking about dreams and jumping off the cliff and doing stuff right now, the most important thing is kind of going backwards and starting at the beginning first, so we can kind of see the whole landscape of how you even got to this place and why it is such a big deal. And it is a big risk, but you're doing it. So could you just tell us a little bit about your background and kind of your work history leading up to where you are right now?
Absolutely. So it is definitely a navigation that it seems a little chaotic, but definitely as I reflect back to kind of see where I'm going, I always say I have to know where I am and where I was.
Yeah.
And so in looking at that, there was a lot of intent. Not at the time, it might have been like, all right, let's do it, and let's go after it. But it was more so of, as I reflect back, it was really, I was being led in a direction to, I think, arrive here that I wasn't even knowledgeable about. I mean, it was more so of the twist and the turn. So as you mentioned, I'm an occupational therapist, have been for 25 years. And in the world of occupational therapy, I mean, we really look at how I feel like that I truly have lived my life, regardless of my profession. It's really living life to the fullest. I always say life is a game, it meant to be played. And I've really tried to
that.
That's my personal mantra. Yeah. And I've had a hell of a time playing it and have been so blessed to be able to meet a lot of cool people, you included, and been given a lot of opportunities that when, kind of telling my story, people are like, how did you end up here? And I say, don't know, but I'm making the best of it, I mean, definitely started out as a clinician, just like everybody does, generally as an OT. And after I graduated from the Ohio State University here in Columbus,
the Ohio State.
My small town, and did the thing that everybody was supposed to do. You started working at the local hospital, you got married, you had the quintessential dog and everything else that you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that's how we're told it's supposed to go.
Right. And thought that was my best self and enjoyed it. I mean, it was just that, but just kept on feeling myself like, I'm being called to do more. Not that I was better, nothing. It was just like, okay, this is cool now, but I know that this is not it. And navigated through the world of pharmaceuticals for a little bit, and then navigated through the aspect of some personal challenges and rose to the occasion and survived with that. You know, we've heard a lot of times when people go low, you need to go high, and I did, and relocated myself back to the Columbus, Ohio area, and really haven't looked back. I mean, I was very fortunate to have some connections in the Columbus world, and went in to do clinical work again, and have always navigated really from that, what I say, catapult of when I left kind of my early onset, which was my first 8 years of my career, and jumped into a realm of pharmaceuticals, which I was blessed to work for one of the largest, Johnson & Johnson. And that truly, in my opinion, was obtaining an MBA from a street.
Yeah. Oh, that's well said. I've heard that too, that you learn it while you're in it.
Totally. And here you go, and we're investing in you, and you're going to study, and you're going to know, and guess what? Here's your business. See you, bye. Make the best of it. And I just thought, you know, I'm a little stubborn with that, and not to be able to survive, and really learned, if anything, how to organically grow something, how to look at a territory, how to meet people where they are, how to meet various different people where they are, and be able to not only, you know, sell a concept, but sell me and believe in me. And that was really what I have found has been the success to my story, is that I am just what you see is what you get. Some people like it, some people don't, but I can't change it. You know, it just is what it is. And be able to say, here I am, and really kind of what I said, got people to invest in me. And then once they invested in me, I knew that everything else was trickling. So from there, came to Columbus, and started working in clinical work again, and navigated my way through that into more of a kind of business development role, program development. And from that, met some key stakeholders at a large organization, of which you and I became, you know, acquainted. And then from there was really hired, as I came in really doing what my intent was in that role when I was working for another employer, was to grow the business. I mean, I needed to grow this therapy model, and I went after, you know, the big dog, and who was really kind of writing the check and going to reimburse a lot for that therapy, and started really being able to get inroads and communicate with them and educate. And really, once again, I found myself of just believe in me and what I'm saying, and really with the aspect of paying it forward and giving and getting in return. And was then approached by, again, an individual who said, you know, I really want to introduce you to this person, and we're looking to grow this kind of organic division of this. And it really became kind of a national consultant role. And that was tough. I mean, I had to really,
I can't imagine,
myself.
Yeah.
And because I was now new in this role, but the role was new and the concept was new, which I laugh, because guess what? I'm in it again.
See? And success leaves clues.
Amen. And I just thought, well, hell, if I can do it then, and someone's paying me, I'm working for myself now. So
now you're doing it for you.
We're hustling, you know, and but very crazy, Karen. It just, both of those instances, I mean, look, scary, crazy scary, but at the same time, I have just been calm in all of those to say, if anything, what I'm going to do, I'm going to work my ass off, and I'm going to help you, and I'm going to learn. And if I don't know it, I'm going to get the people that do. And that's always been kind of my approach to life and to things of which that I put my name behind. And so therefore kind of arrived at that, and then things just kind of trickled. I threw in getting married. I threw in, hey, just so happened to adopt a child.
Oh my goodness.
And then boom.
Just small thing.
From that navigation, Karen, I think, you know, as you kind of ask, I mean, that's really where I think the story of today began. it was really that I was now not just taking care of myself, but I was taking care of obviously a husband who was in the healthcare world as well.
Yeah.
And we took on something that, my God, I mean, that was definitely intentfully placed in our lives, but this child who has had a lot of challenges, still does, but we're figuring it out. And the concept of this really came from all of my past kind of career moves, if you will, in helping others and serving. I always like to use the word serving more than helping, but serving others. But also now it was in my playground. I mean, it was this child that I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I've got to figure this out. And believe you me, we have spent a lot of money and with a lot of people that think, that outwardly, a lot of people know what they're doing, and we just didn't jive with them. I mean, I'm not here to, say anybody is not doing what they need to do, but it wasn't jiving. And so I was able to really be able to serve my clients and myself and my child and all of the above. And, I know that, I've kind of chatted that I've really taken the mantra of, I got a guy, which many people that know me, they'll call Jamie. She'll know somebody. I mean,
I can attest to that. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So therefore I did that, and I've taken that, all of the professionals that I believe in 100%, and have brought them together into this concept called now Aligned Health, that I, shared with, and I know that you were a part of that last weekend, to say, there's two concepts. You believe it, what is true, and then really to make something true, you start believing in it, versus it being untrue and then you believe. You're really believing to make it true. And that's really where I feel that I have navigated, to be quite honest, the last 10 years of my life, in my career, personally and professionally, like to say, all right, I'm a mom, and it's true. And I've
decided it's true. I have decided. Yeah.
And so, therefore, it's really kind of been my navigation as an OT and serving others, as a mom with a neurodiverse child, as a woman trying to survive, again, a past marriage and a career, and surviving that. And where do I go? I mean, I thought I was where I was supposed to be, and found out that, by golly, that wasn't it. And was being coached and was being helped and all of that. And I've taken all of that concept to now develop a program that I am just so passionate about within this community. There's not one like it. I mean, unique to us. There's different models. I look forward to those people copying it. If they're copying it, we know that we're doing something right.
Right.
And end of the day, it's not, again, it's about serving those people. But I want to make it easier for someone like me to be able to navigate a path without all the challenges, Karen. And that's kind of where we are now.
So I think that, looking back after sharing your story, you can see little avenues that events played out in a certain way in your life that you've now, from some introspection, I could say, have looked back and go, well, now I wonder if I got through that by doing A, B, and C. So I wonder if that's transferable here. So, I love the way that life plays out like that. It's very many synchronicities that most people aren't present of mind to pick up on. And what's interesting with your story is that you seem to always have, whether you recognize it or not, a presence of mind going, this just played out the way that it did. I wonder what I can learn from this. I wonder what I can take from it to make things better going forward. But you would be surprised to figure out that many people actually don't do that. They aren't aware, because there's not awareness. So I think that thing that's interesting about you is, without even understanding maybe like mindfulness, because I know, along the path you did become aware of awareness or mindfulness, but before you were just operating to get through. And so you acted on those promptings that most people wouldn't act on. And so whatever made you decide, like, was it like, oh, I'm going to try it, or I have to try it? There's just something in me that says, do this? I mean, what makes you tick? What makes you actually do that? Act on your promptings or your ideas, or is it out of need, or is it out of inspiration, or both?
I think it's a lot of things, Karen. I mean, again, if I'm going to be very transparent with you, I think it's a little bit of everything. I think it's a little bit of the sense of urgency. Like I needed, for instance, just one instance, I needed someone to be able to help me. Like, I mean, I've got this, again, this big life. I've got this big house. I've got this big, all these responsibilities. And now all of a sudden the carpet's been pulled out. I mean, it was out of need, out of urgency. But then as a personal, it was then also professionally the sense of frustration. I mean, it was the aspect of here I was a clinician in several different roles that I've been in, and there was always something missing. And it wasn't the aspect of I believe that you can be everything to everybody. That's not it.
Yeah.
If that was the case, I wouldn't have the members that I have on my team. I mean, I would just think I could do it myself. And that's never been me. But it's more so of, I've always jokingly said I'm like a 2-year-old in this body that keeps aging. Like, why? Well, why is that? Well, why does it have to be that way? And
Curious.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Well, why? And karma's a real, what? I mean, I have an 11-year-old boy that literally asks 1,000 questions. And
You earn him.
Why? But again, I mean, I love it. It's thinking and without segueing I mean, we need a lot of people doing a lot of thinking these days. And, we need a lot of people that can surround those people that don't have that capability. Doesn't make them wrong. Doesn't make, them different. It just is, I can't do it. And that was the thing. I mean, I think it's a little bit of frustration. It's a little bit of urgency. It's a little bit of innate drive as I kind of look back to say, okay, God, you've given me these strengths. And I've always been one that walk in somewhere and say, okay, I would probably put that chair over here and this. And now I start visualizing everything. And so that's kind of the strategy that I have. And I know you and I have kind of chatted about Clifton strengths, and I love that. I mean, I drink the juice of that. And so, I thought it was all BS, and then was introduced that about 2007.
Oh.
And said, fine. I mean, I'll ask the questions, whatever, Like,
did you do it? Did some work situation prompt you to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I said, look, I'm a whole bunch of crazy up here. And so, I mean, that's fine. I mean, if that's, you want validation for that, whatever, and literally, I mean, I got this report, answered the questions, which are not like, I've always kind of proud myself in like, I can work this, like
exactly,
I know.
Because they kind of give you like a little tricky trick
questions. It was stupid. Like, I mean, there were questions that was like, off the wall questions. Yeah. And I thought, okay, whatever, and then I got this report and I'm like, oh my God. I mean, this is it. This is me. And literally from 2007, I mean, I started my career in OT in 1996. So, you're talking about, that first 10 years, although that's a lot, in my opinion, I was just getting started, like you.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, you screw up a lot. You find out what you need to do.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So it was more so from that instance, when you say kind of that intent, it was always driven by those strengths, Karen. I mean, I so believe in that, my spirituality and the belief of my higher power, if you will. I mean, God has given me these strengths and I need to capitalize on them. I mean, that's who I am. I mean, that's my makeup. And I always try to surround myself with people that are strong in my weakness areas, because then there ain't no stopping.
Well, true enough.
Totally. So therefore, I mean, it was intent as I navigated this crazy path of, okay, well, I'm not really looking forward to going to, Fisher College and doing the MBA program. But I mean, how can I do that? And it was, Johnson & Johnson, and it was this, and it was organic, and always really looking at the OT model that is this holistic view of the world and of the individual, and how does the environment meet with the individual and their culture and their values and their beliefs, and
it's so true.
All of that.
Well, it is true. I mean, I like that. I'm going to kind of capitalize on that point for a second, because people think, and we've talked about that, people think you have to have like the alphabet soup designations behind your name. But when you're born to do something, it's somehow the world brings it to you and you're just naturally good at it. So like if I'm really talented at art, is an art degree going to make me a more talented even after I made this picture 4 years ago? Is the picture going to get better in 4 more years? Probably in a different way, but you're just naturally born to do it. So I believe strongly in things that are like, you're naturally born for it. And it's, do you obey the calling or do you ignore it? And I feel like those are two groups of people. Either you obey it and you act on it, or you live in fear, which I was doing that. Not fear, but fear of failure, fear of the work and, oh, what if it doesn't work out? Fear of, oh my God, we could lose our house if I screw this up. That kind of fear. That's real fear though. I mean, those are real legitimate things. But I always find it remarkable the people who decide to act on it, right? Because not many of us do. And you got to be crazy to be an entrepreneur. You just got to have something crazy about you. You just do. There has to be a little crazy, because you have to be a dreamer. You have to, like you said, you have to believe it and then see it, because it rarely is the other way around. See it and then believe it. You just have to know it. You have to feel it, and then you act on it. So I think what you're saying, I love how you touched on that story, like how you could have gone and gotten your MBA, but then your job kind of unpacked that for you at Johnson & Johnson. And suddenly you basically got an honorary MBA. A lot of people, I think, can say that because they get nervous because they don't have their designation in alphabet soup. But I say, just do it. If you're good at it and you're naturally gifted and what you do seems easy and other people go, gosh, that's really interesting what you just said, then the light should come on, like, maybe this, I just do it. I don't even think about it, So I think that's an interesting part of your story that I don't want to breeze over. Anyway, continue, because not that I just wanted to stop you on that point. So you got all this, you can see how it fits into the model of what you're doing today. So how did you look back, take all these pieces together, and how did you come up with this really creative, fresh, I definitely innovative approach to wellness? Who were you thinking of? Were you thinking of yourself, or who did you have in mind when you thought this concept would be exactly what these people, whoever these people are, what they needed?
I mean, selfishly, I hate to say it. I mean, it's not, I mean, I don't have some kind of brainchild kind of approach, it was just kind of, like I said, it was more selfishly to say, I am so sick. I'm tired of chasing those people with the designations behind their name that, just to do what I wanted to do. Right. And again, don't get me wrong. There is intent with designation. It's not like I have a group of people that don't have training. I mean,
right. No, I agree. Yeah.
But it was more so what I said. It was like they have training in their unique area. And have you ever thought about, again, kind of offering that service in a model like this? I mean, it was more so of me meeting people, and something that I really do feel like that I have a gift to do is really rally people and get them to see the best in themselves, and like, you can do this, and really support them, and why not? And so when you say there has to be a little bit of crazy, that is, I mean, I'm playing upon, like, look, okay, I respect, your aspect of, like, I don't know that I want to do this, but I like you, and I want to do this, but I don't know, and I don't know where the risk is, and things of that nature. I mean, you just got to cast your net. Yeah. And, again, I'm not doing this on a dream and a dime. I mean, I've thought logically about it. We have a business plan and all of that in place, but it was more so, I think, Karen, of, how did I get all these pieces? It was easy. I mean, I hate to dummy it down that way, but it was just like, okay, look, I need this, I need that, and what about the mind, and what about this, and brain health is gut health, and what about this, and I also looked at the aspect of myself being, and I know that you and I've had these conversations. I mean, I am a business owner, I am a wife, I am a mom. I am crazy nuts and busy, and I don't have the time to go on Pinterest and find a damn recipe, and I don't have time. I mean, I know the difference between a micro and a macronutrient, and I know it's gluten, and I know all that. I'm educated in that realm, but to sit there and meal plan that level, like, it'll never happen.
Yeah.
You know? And so then, I mean, as goofy as it sounds, I mean, we started doing a lot of the home delivered, kits, name unmentioned.
Right.
And it was like, okay, this is cool. And then I remember preparing them. And then after, honest to God, like the first 2 weeks, I'm like, well, all this stuff is the same. I mean, it's all chicken.
Oh, it's all chicken. I did that too. And I felt like, oh, chicken again. Oh.
And so I was just like, well, this sucks. And so, from that, I started thinking, well, we're trying to eat healthy. I'm trying to do a little gluten stuff for my son, who again has some executive function issues and gut issues, and he's ADHD, and and there's some trauma issues obviously there in the past, and things of that nature, and really trying to heal with food. And bam, popped into an individual that again I was crossroad with, and truly intent, and she is an executive chef, and I'm like, you know what, I need you on my team. Like, that is the avatar that Align Health is going to be really gravitating to. I know all that stuff, but I don't have time to plan recipes unique to my family, or I don't know that stuff and I don't care. Like, someone just tell me what to make and tell me what to eat, and then I'm going to do it.
And then I'll do it.
Right. And so again, different than some of what I would say the players in this playground, not really Align Health, but they are different professions. Again, totally respect, but I think for what our needs were, I needed a culinary coach. I need someone that knew food and can make it look good, because there may be kids that are picky eaters that say, I don't like that. I don't like how it looks.
We all have those.
Yeah. And then, you may have those like me that I'm like, okay, I'm home at 8 o'clock and I don't feel like friggin' cooking, and and I'm going to grab the easiest thing, or better yet, could I have some stuff in the fridge that I can bam, 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 and it's going to be high protein or whatever it may be. But yet Adana is able to address those things for us because it's easy. And the other thing I knew about it is that I started looking, I mean, as an entrepreneur, I've invested a hell of a lot of money. I mean, Karen, and I don't have, I can't go and drop the whole food kind of mantra, and I needed to be able to do this very economically, and to be able to really look at, if I'm rationing my money like I should to get everything that I want, she does it very consciously. I mean, she has unbelievably done some things with a nonprofit that I'm involved with women that, single women in crisis. And she taught them how to eat very healthily from getting a food at the food pantry. I mean, she knows food.
Yeah.
And it's not she knows how to do it and cook it and make it taste good. And I mean, it's all about the taste, right? I mean, we live in a society right now that's a little selfish and a little self-centered, and, and it's everything in moderation. So it's okay. I knew that, like, if I'm going to get my 11-year-old child to eat this, it has to look good. It's got to taste good.
Right.
And guess what? I mean, he goes to the party when all of his other buddies are eating a lot of gluten stuff. Then he can still have cookies, and we can still have cupcakes, and we can still have that with gluten recipes that don't taste like a cardboard or whatever it may be.
Something good.
We needed to do that, and Adana did that. So that's just one piece of the puzzle that I have, but it was real, kind of selfishly from what I needed, and I know, and what the people that I serve need, and being mindful that I needed to meet those people where they are, Karen. I mean, it's not about like, okay, well, you're having GI problems, go gluten, go gluten free. Well, try to tell that to an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't have celiac disease that's really impacted. I mean,
right,
it's like,
right. That's severe.
His behavior is going to blow up. So it's going to be hell for me.
Yeah.
And he doesn't feel good either. But at the end of the token, he could drop a cookie or a cupcake and be okay.
Yeah.
After effects of it. But that's what I'm saying. It was probably a little bit of column A and column B.
Well, honestly, I think that's what a lot of this is born out of. But sometimes, even my path coming into coaching, it was born out of a necessity, out of a need to kind of curate my path forward because something wasn't working. A lot of people feel stuck. And so they're thinking, how do I get unstuck? What is it that's missing? What can I uncork that I have not tapped into yet? Well, what does that look like? I wonder if I can make a business out of that. Or I wonder if that can be a career. Can I monetize that? Anything. Because sometimes just things are good to do just to uncork a creative path that you might have, and it makes your life feel fuller, and you don't have to like change careers or get a new marriage or whatever it is. You don't have to do anything crazy, but you can improve your life by uncorking certain creative pathways and other things to make your life feel full and make you feel like, I'm so excited today because I'm going to blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is, something that gives you excitement to wake up. But then some of it's due from necessity. So you've been able to practically round up these issues that you've had to overcome and kind of look at this in totality and package it and go, I wonder if there's a business in this. I wonder how could I do this? And so, it's interesting how you went through that process. I just really kind of wanted to unpack that a little bit of how you decided, like, I'm acting on it. So, you're meeting the culinary coach, and then you yourself know that you bring OT into it. You know what that brings for people's health, wellness, mind, body. If they're hurting in any way, shape, or form, or if they have weakness, then it impacts the rest of their life. They get depressed, they get down. Why can't I feel better? So then how did you decide to bring the rest of the people on board, and what does the current model look like as it stands today? Your business.
Absolutely. So it really came out of the aspect of, as I jokingly said a few minutes ago, it's kind of the 2-year-old why. When I have someone come in for me and I really specialize in OT, more of the upper body, as well as I do a lot of pediatric realm. So I sit down and I'm like, okay, well, tell me why you're here, and so they, I give them the mic, and then they start chatting, and then I start asking questions like every day, like, tell me about your diet. How much water are you drinking? And then I go down through, like, is there any issues with your vision and your hearing? And what about sleeping? And, those, and people look at me like I have 5 heads.
Yeah,
and
like, what does that have to do?
Well, right. And, I start talking about, just the aspect of how are you managing stress, and what do you do for a living, and tell me a typical day for you. And, when they say a typical day, it's just kind of like, well, I wake up at like 6, and then I'm rushing around and I'm doing, and so they've already, to me, I'm kind of like writing notes,
Right.
And then I say back and I'm like, and you're concerned because you don't have any time to do what? When do you have time to do this?
Yeah.
So, we really start to play in, and questions always start to pop up because I'm really, what I said, peeling back the onion to where they are. And much like I'm sure you have been able to uncover those that you're interviewing for this podcast. Mm-hmm. People are going to tell you what they're comfortable to tell you.
Right.
And then once you build that trust, they're going to start telling you a lot.
Yeah.
And, what ends up being starting as a true therapeutic session starts to be more like counseling. And then it goes into,
it's the art and the science. It's both.
Right. And we start to find out, well, Jamie, I know this, I need this, but money is tight now. Well, tell me a little bit about what's going on there, Yeah. And so from there, I have really what I feel touched a full body experience. I have a massage therapist that is very therapeutic in nature, very medical model.
Yeah.
And she is fantastic. Anything in regards to myofascial, musculoskeletal, things of that nature. She also offers an entire specialty from CBD. She also does an entire specialty of prenatal and postnatal work. So, those are people that fall in these niches that you're kind of like, yeah, I'm 8 months pregnant and I feel like hell. And like, why are my ankles this big? And people just kind of write that off. Yeah. But there's validity to that. No, you shouldn't be laying around where you can't even breathe. And yes, you have a child, and yes, you're growing a human inside you. Yeah. However, there are very much preventative, holistic things that you can do to make yourself feel better. You should not have to go through hell when you're having some kind of challenge, is my feeling. Like, you've got to live life to the fullest, is what I keep saying, And so I have that massage therapist. I have a physical therapist. Again, a couple of different models of physical therapy that they're looking at, more of a women's health specialty. And then we have more of an orthopedic realm, kind of a division from anything ailing you orthopedically. Also posture, which that's kind of my
That's
big.
big.
95%, I'm throwing it out there, don't quote me on this, it's just more of a mantra, but it all comes down to posture, like, oh, this is hurting, but you wonder because you're like this at your desk all day.
I know, what are we doing? Looking at my phone?
And you're here, and then you've got that tech neck.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then if you're like me, you can't see anymore, so you have to get your readers, and then you're doing like this. And so, it came out of that realm. And then I have a life coach called Karen Baldridge that I am so friggin' excited about. And again, that was more of the model of, I needed to be able to see how I could be the dotted line and to supplement many of my peers in the world of psychology and psychiatry to say, okay, well, yes, that's needed, but what about the and then, or the plus one kind of mentality, like, what about that? Like, we're not going backwards. I have people that, again, me included, like, I know what's there. I don't need to go backward. I need someone to help me navigate from here and now. And so that's where I needed a coach. And obviously, it wasn't you at the time, but I wasn't even here at the time. But, having that life coach to be able to say, you got this. You got this.
Yeah, it's a cheerleader, kind of like, give you some vision.
Right. I needed a hand. And so we have a life coach. We also have, it stemmed out of more of, like I said, the need. We have a financial wellness coach on staff now. She's an accountant. And what, they're like, why is that? Well, again, I kept reading Forbes and Time, and then Psychology Today, and my AOTA stuff that said, again, the world starts revolving around financial distress and financial stress. And, now, especially now in the midst of this pandemic, and there's a lot of people that are like, how am I even going to pay my bills? And these were people that were thriving. I mean, these are people that didn't have a job before. I mean, these are thriving individuals. Me included. I mean, I've taken a dip, and like, what do I need to do? And how do I need to be creative? And so therefore she's a realist. I mean, she gets it. And I have a CPA. I have a financial planner. I mean, I've got them all, and they're all working for me. I just needed someone to be able to coach me through what are these decisions? I mean, it was more of that. And so we have that. I also have, out of the need of kind of our pediatric arm of things, we have a fantastic occupational therapist that is working with me in regards to a lot of those kind of sensory kids, ADHD kids. I mean, those gray neurodiversity, if you will, and those neurodiverse kids that often fall through the cracks. My kid included. I mean, if it wasn't, I know you and I have chatted about that. It's those kiddos that are super duper smart, but they can go forward if they're in sync. And oftentimes are labeled as a behavior child, things of that nature, and they're not, and I've fought a lot of fights, I mean, from that realm. So we have her on board. She's an intervention specialist, a behavior intervention specialist in one of the school districts here locally. She came on board as a parent coach. And she's coaching. I mean, it's not, here's how to parent your child. It's more so of really being the liaison between what you're finding at school at times and what they're finding at home, or what they're finding at therapy and what you're finding at home. That's a big disconnect,
A lot of times it is.
She's that liaison between those two individuals, and really being able to look at behavior and what is it, and peel back the onion. And if the onion peeled back to more of a sensory issue, then we have the OT to be able to do that. And then I have the culinary coach that I was chatting about. Again, she's truly culinary. I mean, that's 100%. And she's finishing up a certification from Harvard Medical School that is absolutely friggin' fantastic. I mean, it really puts the validation on where she feels her passion has been. And she said, Jamie, I've thought about this, like, how many times, and have this internal fight of, what am I? I'm not a dietitian. I'm not an RD. I'm not, where am I? I know food and I know this. And I kind of said, okay, it's culinary coaching. And she's like, yes, like 150%.
That's what it is.
And ironically, talking about that, we set the intent, And then all of a sudden, like that next night, I found this whole certification process on Harvard Med.
It's crazy. It's like you're magnetic. You magnetically draw things to you once you take this conscious step and you decide like, ooh, this is a thing. It's suddenly the right doors just open. If I could just explain that to people and if they could just believe what I'm telling them, that you
Right.
become magnetic to your future once you decide like, I'm doing it. But you
Well,
have to make that decision. I am
totally.
doing it and put skin in the game.
Right.
And I think
Right.
that's, you are evidence that that is happening and that is unfolding that way for you. And you may not know what next year is going to look like. And the model could be even more, diverse and whatever, but you're just going with it. And that's the
Well,
whole
I mean,
thing.
I'm going with it, but like I would say to you, Karen, I mean, I already have this vision of where this is going. And it's not, I mean, I appreciate the aspect of a business plan. And, my CPA is always like, okay, where's this business plan going? I
Yeah.
mean,
What's your business plan?
and I'm just like, I got this.
Yeah. I'm not going to write it down. I
already
know what it is.
Like again, I'm believing it. It's coming true.
Yeah.
Like I already know. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't even explain it. It just is happening. And that's where, I have that. And then lastly, I have an individual coming on board. I'm very stoked. My thing is that I needed to be able to create not only what I felt like my model was and needed, but also I needed to be unique in this world that we play in. I mean, I did not want to compete with those peers that are in the yoga world and the Pilates world and love that. I mean, 100% could not be more true to those disciplines and love them and have referred individuals specifically for that. But I needed something a little different. And it was more of what we're kind of calling more of a functional movement. And I need, because I keep telling people, I just saw 3 people today that I said, you got to move.
Yeah.
Like, screw the exercises. Right. You got to move. Yeah. You know what? And my prescription to one of my patients today is, I said, I want you to go home. I want you to put on, she was a 90s girl. I said, I want you to put on the best of the 90s on Amazon Prime music. And I want you to dance your ass off. And I said, and you're moving. Yeah. Forget what exercises do I need to do? She kept saying, I'm like, we're going to turn on Rob Bass, sister. Turn on Joy and Pain.
You're talking, a little joy. Yeah. And pain. Yeah. Love it. You're talking my language.
A little Snoop Dogg in there.
Yeah. You got my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Yeah.
And I said, and I want you to, because why? I mean, she came in and she just had this look of like, and her husband, is in law enforcement. And, we have some challenging times right now for that. Stress.
So stressful.
And so when you say, like, why did I pick these people? Here's a woman coming to me. She was a double mastectomy. She came to me. She has some orthopedic issues. She has some sensory issues. She has all of that. But we have talked about money. We have talked about her career. She was a teacher. Now she might be, reaching out to you very soon. And then, and then we also chatted about the fact that she just needed some fun in her life right now. She's got an 11-year-old daughter.
Discount that. You can't discount that.
And I said, get on the music and rock it out, sister. And we were laughing, and she laughed, and she left out of here. She was crying, but good tears. And I'm like, that's it. I mean, that is it. Yeah. You don't have to be so damn staunch. Right. Just move. And so this gal is a choreographer. And my intent is that I want to be able to have my client and whatever ails them, and that may be you with life coaching, that may be, I mean, it could be all of us, and us being able to tell Cindy, hey, look, we've got this issue, and I want you to make a choreography intent with this in mind. And, there is something to be said about the body moving and releasing and endorphins and all of that ripple.
All of it.
And, but at the end of the day, it has to be fun. And that's where, again, I'll bring it back to a little bit of crazy. People are like, okay,
like, really?
But once you do it, And as the old saying goes, if it feels good, do it again.
Yeah.
You know? I mean,
Amen.
yeah. So we've got just a really flippin' good team that I am just absolutely stoked about. And if anything, like I said, I got a guy that I've been living and I've brought him together under this umbrella that everybody, again, has their own gig. We're just coming together in community to be able to move that dial and that iceberg a hell of a lot easier than if we just put up our umbrella ourselves and did it. And at the end of the day, having a lot of fun doing it.
Right. I mean, that's exactly, I love the concept. I think it's interesting that maybe you could tell as we close this out, how it's not a medical model. I think that's an interesting and an important part of your business model. And again, part of the dream work makes, the teamwork makes the dream work kind of thing. How does that look? And then where can we find you? And we'll close it out from there.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely, the medical model is not there. I mean, it really is the aspect of when I say it's integrated in nature. I mean, it's the integration of these beings to make the mind, body, and that wellness approach. I mean, that's really where I'm looking. It truly is a community. I keep saying it's a collaborative mind-body experience. And that's really where it is. I mean, it totally is us coming together. I mean, our place, I'm sitting in one of our rooms now. I mean, never stop dreaming. We've got some cool sticks in the background.
Yeah, I love sticks.
And so I want it to be a true just being. Like, I want to be in community and not just be in these four walls. We're getting ready to go out and be able to kind of serve those and being in different places that you wouldn't think, oh my God, why are they there? And I'm like, well, we're all human and we're all people and everybody need us, and so that definitely, it's really looking at the mind body experience. And it's not fitness, it's not medical, it's really holistic. As we look at how is this powerful being that we have in our head literally driving our entire body, and how can our body impact this head, and then overall have this collaborative wellness. And for what you're looking at, and really looking at strategies to get us there. It's the strategy, it's the action, it's the achievement, it's all of that combined to be able to do that. We are located in Columbus, right outside of Arlington, off of Old Henderson Road, easy access, 315. And so we've got a great space that we are excited for people to come and to be able to see now that we're kind of, getting out of the nest and being able to come. And we're definitely going to be in the community, and all of us, if you will, really being in our genius areas. I mean, you obviously in your genius area, and you kind of taking this model in that direction, and the financial wellness person. I mean, that's like cuckoo, like what, and all that. Well, again, we're all human, we're all people, and really driving this concept there. So there was intent in bringing people together, and my intent was to be able to serve the person as a whole being. But at the same time, I thought, how can I make an impact to more people the most efficient and effective way?
Yeah. So essentially that's what the model is you've made it efficient and user-friendly for any of these modalities that anyone needs, because sometimes it's not just a one-lane thing where, in the medical field, it's like, oh, I fixed your therapy on that part of your arm, but I know you're totally depressed. Nothing I can do for you there. But so bye, I'll see you next appointment. Where you were thinking bigger and corralling opportunities and easy access to vetted, vetted professionals that you can refer them. You've already pulled it together. So that's a really incredible model. I know for busy moms, busy business owners, or just people who have career lives and families, that is huge for
Well,
us.
I think it's going to impact the whole being. I mean, that's where I'm like looking at how can we impact the whole family? Because, as I literally said, my husband said, when mom ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
You
You
already
know?
know that's
And
right.
so, I mean, there's something to be said about that. I
Yeah.
mean, it literally, I heard something the other day, and I can't even remember where I heard it now, because I would definitely give credence to where it is. And I'm so sorry if whoever told me is watching this, but it's kind of like they say, that the man's the head of the household. And I'm like, well, you know what? The woman is the neck.
Yeah.
Because
Yes. We move him
can
wherever we want.
move that damn head anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I heard that. I was like,
That's exactly.
and so, but however, I mean, with that, in all seriousness, we're all connected.
Yeah.
We're all connected. I mean, if the kid's having a crappy day, it's going to impact everybody else. If your colleague sitting next to you at work is having a crappy day, it's going to affect you.
Right.
If your gut is crazy, nuts and all bound up your mind. If your mind, your gut's going to be that. I mean, it all makes sense.
It's connected. It's all interconnected. And if you can get it all going aligned, you can get everything aligned, thus your name.
Right.
Then, I mean, you can open up possibilities for your life. And I think that's why it's a huge, important thing to be able to cure the things that you think are the problem when in fact they aren't actually the problem. It's what's going on here and what you think about your gut health, what you think about my arm hurts. Oh my God, any of the problems, it comes down to your how you think about it. So if you can fix it, take that distraction, then you're aligning your people, or the avatar of your person's coming into your doors. You're able to align them, set them off onto their path to live their best life, right?
Absolutely. And
So I can't wait.
Right. And we're also aligning outside of us. I mean, we are aligning and so very blessed to be able to be aligned with some affiliates that have come on board that I'm like, okay, here's my more, I got a guy, like I have a need, and they're doing their thing. And really, as I kind of would say to you, Karen, I mean, it's really, as I said, me taking my strengths personally, but also looking at that whole model of I'm going to put people in their strengths and I'm going to let them shine. And that's including internally at Align and externally. I mean, bringing the community in, because to me, there is power in numbers, and we can definitely make an impact in one person and several people. And what I say is that, again, we're making a concept. It's going to be a new concept, but it's needed. And I think it's definitely looked at a little differently now, where people are really starting to invest in themselves and really looking
self-care.
at that.
Yeah,
absolutely. And really, our mantra is come align with us. And we want to be able to have people align wherever they are, so that we can meet them where they are and get them the resources that they need. I mean, through a true mind, body, health, wellness is what we're looking at.
Oh, good. Well, that's going to be really exciting. I love that you shared your concept with us today, and that you just shared it with the world instead of keeping it in here. I mean, if there's a need, we need the dreamers to fill that need, because some don't step up, and so thank you that you had the courage to step up and take the gamble, and you kind of already know it'll just pay off, because there's going to be people like you out there who need what you're putting out, right? So you'll attract the right demographic, as with every good business model or every good, service-based company, So tell us your website, and then I will let you go.
Absolutely. Our website is alignhealthgroup.com. We're on all social media platforms, and definitely looking at growing that. We definitely are looking at doing some focus groups. Again, I need to, if I'm going to meet someone where they are, I got to have them in the door telling us where they are. So we're definitely looking at that. And, I would definitely share with your followers, Karen, those that would love to be interested in kind of understanding what this concept is and to be able to offer their opinions. We're definitely looking for those kind of people that are willing to share their story, so that we can best serve them. And be able to grow and navigate this path of our kind of dream with all of us, to be able to meet them. So that's where we are. I'd love to be able to chat with anybody that has an interest or has a need.
Great. Well, thank you. I hope everyone heard that. Step up if you have something to add or some comment that you think would bring some value to this model. She's listening. We're listening.
Right.
So, all right. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for sharing your time and your product of your dream that you've been on for all these years that you've put it together. Thank you for sharing it with us today. And we're going to look forward to checking back in with you after you've had a little time under your belt to see where this went. I know it's
wonderful, Karen. Thank you so very much. I love you.
Love you
and
too.
take care of yourself. See you later, sweetheart.
All right. Thank you. See ya.
Right. Bye.
Bye.